So we just landed in Guatemala, a country that doesn't get nearly enough credit for how insanely beautiful and diverse it is. Each city looks so vibrant and feels full of life, but here's the thing. Guatemala doesn't feel like a place that you just visit, it's a place that challenges you, surprises you, and it'll probably leave you with a few incredible travel stories. So we set out to see what travel stories we could bring back with us after visiting this country thanks to a $194 flight deal we found through FareDrop.
Today we landed in Guatemala and we just finished a 3-hour drive to our first accommodation. Not gonna lie, we're really having to slice and dice our travel plans. We are traveling right now where last week was the major IT shutdown where thousands of flights got delayed or canceled.
Scenes of mayhem.
For a massive tech outage, computer systems in healthcare, banking and airlines are slowly coming back online.
On top of that, we also had storms that interrupted our entire travel day. We got stuck in Charlotte for like 13 hours and the airport looked like this.
It's like a million people.
The next chance we were able to get to Guatemala was not until a few days later. We originally had a pretty stellar itinerary with over a week to spend in Guatemala with visiting multiple villages around Lake Atitlan, staying overnight to see a volcano erupt, and now all of that has been crunched down into 3.5 days. But we're gonna make the most of it. Now, a lot of our goals are still the same for when we visit any other place, and that is indulging in local food, exploring some colorful markets. I have a very fun ATV tour planned when we get to Antigua. And tomorrow, in our only full day in Lake Atitlan, we're going to try and see some villages or maybe go full in on one village around the lake.
But first, a room tour.
We have finally arrived at the beautiful lake, and this is probably one of the most incredible views we've ever had in our entire travels. This also makes me super bummed because we were supposed to have more nights here, but since everything got canceled and pushed back, we only have 2 nights, which I'm still grateful for. But let's show you around and then we'll end with the view. So this is Casa Sunset. It is a little a studio. I was gonna say a 1-bedroom studio, that doesn't make sense. You come in here to this lovely kitchen, full kitchen, gas stove, electric stove, and refrigerator. We've got a bed and a TV. We got a bathroom, as one should. But I like this open shower. It's a rain shower, which is like hit or miss, I feel like. A jacuzzi, which I will very promptly be getting in because I'm so sore from traveling. And the best part, this incredible view. Now, based off the looks of this and the view, you might think this was like $300 a night, $400 a night. Wrong. This is less than $100 a night, which is still like a little over what we like to spend, actually a lot over what we like to spend on accommodation outside of the US. But I knew this place was beautiful and I wanted to splurge because we've been sleeping in vans in cold places, so I figured this was a little taste of luxury for us.
Just sitting here watching this view could be enough for me, but there are other things that we want to do today.
Hola. Buenos dias. We are headed down to the boat launch because the best way to get around the lake is by a water taxi called lanchas. We believe these water taxis run from about 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. So today we're going to head to a village called San Juan, and it looks like it is very colorful, very vibrant, tons of art, so it sounds right up our alley. Feels good to be in a tuk-tuk again.
Yeah, it does.
I don't do well on hills, like trip and slide. Got it, yep.
We made to San Juan, and that looks like the boat to be on. Partying over there, it's early.
Water's pretty clear. The boat was 25 quetzals each, so 50 total, which is what I expected to pay, so that's good.
We were on the lookout for someone to show us around town, and right off the pier we met the perfect guide. This is Juan Carlos, an official guide with Guatemala Tourism. He's about to take us on a tour of San Juan and share some of the town's unique treasures with us. Juan Carlos even gave us a quick lesson in Xutuhili, the language of one of the Mayan ethnic groups spread throughout Guatemala.
The example is thank you is Dios.
Tiosh?
Yeah.
Tiosh.
Mat Dios is same from Quiche, Cachiquel, Quechua, and my language. It's same. It's thank you very much. Mat Dios.
Mat Dios.
Yeah, exactly.
We walked with Juan Carlos through the Pierside Market, where his tuk-tuk was waiting to take us to our first stop.
All right, we have our tour guide for today, Juan Carlos. He's going to take us all around San Juan. Right now we're heading up to a viewpoint first. It is 100 quetzals per person. Normally, I would not go to like the first person off the boat, but Juan Carlos was very friendly and he speaks English, which is great for us. And I had a price in mind and this matched it. So I'm excited for today. We are also going to, I think, like a bee farm, chocolate making, which is very exciting. Lots of Instagram-worthy photo spots, murals. We'll see what else.
There's a 20 quetzales entry fee into Marauder San Juan, then it's a long, steep climb to the top, but the hike is well worth the effort. On the way to the top, you get a scenic view of San Juan. And there's a restaurant halfway up if you need to take a break.
You breathing as hard as me?
Yeah.
To think we thought we could climb a volcano. There's a guy over there selling flutes. And if Sarah wasn't here, the old me would 100% bought one of those. Still up in question.
We live out of backpacks. We
like
can't
souvenirs.
have flutes.
I'll play it for you.
Absolutely not.
But we're almost at the top and already the view is really incredible. You can see like the top of the houses on San Juan and in between is like the valley with all the mountains. Looks really cool.
I'm so hungry.
Once you reach the top, you'll know it from the smell of food from the vendor stalls and the sound of musicians playing local tunes.
To the top, and what a view.
Aside from the view, the lookout has these colorful murals all along the wooden floor. Most of the artwork here in San Juan is done by Xutuhili locals depicting local affairs and historical events, with the murals on the top of the hill being some of the most recognizable. And from up here, you can see the entirety of San Juan, as well as a few other towns surrounding the lake.
I know we're in Guatemala, but the best part of my day is getting our cat's report card from our rover sitter. Can you see that?
That looks heavy.
There are tons of places to grab a bite to eat or a drink, whether that's agua or a michelada or Corona, you name it. Cerveza. There's also a ton of shopping opportunities for souvenirs and trinkets. We're bypassing all of that because luckily we have Juan Carlos today, so maybe we can go to some more like local spots.
Coming back down is obviously a lot easier, so I can catch my breath a little bit. If you want to come to this viewpoint for yourself, just be prepared because it's not the most challenging thing we've done, but everyone, ourselves included, are huffing and puffing and sweating and drenched in sweat. So just know that it's not going to be the easiest to get to the top. Meanwhile, this guy's a champ, just walking up and down the hill with all that wood.
Next up on Juan Carlos's tour of San Juan are a couple stops where we'll witness the ancestral processes of making thread and making chocolate. These traditions have been passed down through generations, and today we get a first-hand look at the artistry and craftsmanship behind them.
Juan Carlos is taking us through a back alley. Really pretty alley though. Whoa.
So here is you see two traditional process.
Okay.
Or ancestral process for the make of thread. and they use dye or color from vegetables, flowers, barks, and insects. You see, they use for make colors.
Priscilla is going to demonstrate the weaving process for different fabrics and clothing and describe how dyes are created using different flower, fruit, and plant pigments.
We have the brown and white. They both are natural, but the brown color we call ishkako, which means the brown skin of the woman. You can touch it. Just add the thread and we turn the spindle and we get the thread. Dye. And here, wash and water to take out the excess the color.
After showing us how the threads are made and dyed, Priscilla demonstrated how it all comes together in the weaving process.
And have the first abiadura, when you use the lanzadera, separate the both crossings and change the color.
So after your little session, you can go into the store here where you can buy everything that is handmade from that weaving process. She's balding. 85% of the purchases go back to the families and then 15 goes towards the cooperative.
Conveniently, across the street from the thread making is a chocolate making shop.
We're definitely going to be buying some chocolate.
Here they discuss cocoa's natural health benefits, as well as demonstrate the chocolate making process from cacao to cocoa.
My name is Melanie.
This is Melanie, and she's given us a breakdown of cacao from its form as a fruit all the way down to the seeds.
Cacao fresh is good for eating.
Wow, bitter.
And then she showed us how they roll the seeds to form the soft cream. Once sugar is added, that's when it becomes chocolate.
This is cacao cream.
And of course, you can buy all the different types of chocolate that they make.
Our next stop is to visit Mayan bees. Bees have played an important role in Mayan history, both in the maintenance of the biodiversity and culturally, having been used for healing and therapeutic purposes.
Limoncillo bee produces citrus honey. Honey is good for coffee, and you can put in salad like vinegar and the flavor is citrus. The hive, this is the hive, produces half a liter of honey in a year.
Wow.
It's a little bit.
Just touching here. Oh, I'm scared.
Come on here, they can do it.
I just, you feel the, like the feet.
Oh yeah, he's biting.
You got drowned.
It doesn't hurt. He's biting. Aggressive.
Where is it? Oh, right there.
After being introduced to a few local species, we were able to enjoy the fruits of their labor, or in this case, the honey of their labor.
This is production the royal bee, the last one.
Which one's this? Basil?
Basil.
Yes, I mean with basil.
Wow.
And it tastes
Oh.
like balsamic.
Whoa.
Yeah, salad.
Yeah, that's definitely pretty
This
good
is the
for
white
salad.
honey from Princess One. It's very, very tiny. It honey is good for gastritis and anti-infection.
Yum.
Yeah.
So we learned that Mayan bees don't have stingers. They actually just bite, and it's a little bite. They're tiny like ants. Little drone bit me up a little bit. It does not hurt.
Do you have a mark?
I don't know. My whole skin's marked up, so
It's like, what are you showing?
right here. You see that on my hand?
Yeah. Honey was delicious.
Honey is delicious here.
And the honey wine.
And honey
was
wine.
also delicious.
Yes.
We don't say cheers. We say bzzz like bee.
Nice little shot glasses. Bzzz. Shot of honey wine.
Smells good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Like, hits you a little bit.
Yeah, that's really good. We ended up buying 2 shots for 15Q each, chocolate ball, and 3 honey sticks.
Queen bee.
Queen bee. This street is called Hat Street, aptly named. As you can see, above us is all these really cool hats and sombreros. It's one of many streets here that are just really colorful and cool and Instagrammable.
So we asked Juan Carlos if we could eat somewhere, and he said, do you want a view? And we're like, we don't care if there's a view, we just want good traditional food. So he brought us to this place, and then I said, come in and eat with us. So he's gonna join us in like 5 minutes and hopefully walk us through what he recommends and maybe some Guatemalan favorite dishes. That looks good. Gracias. Wow. Oh my God. That's really good. It's like the best rotisserie chicken.
For the three of us, we paid 253 quetzales.
So we said our goodbyes to Juan Carlos, but he dropped us off on Umbrella Street, and it is beautiful. It's just a big hill leading down to the lake, and there's all these umbrellas overhead. I think we're gonna explore a bit before catching the boat back to Pana.
We took a quick launch ride back to Pana, and like our furry friend up there, it was time to call it a night. The roads along Lake Atitlan are full of sharp turns and scenic views, and driving through the towns, it isn't uncommon to hear music playing or see a celebration happening. But these roads are pretty tough on rental cars. Probably best to have full coverage when renting here.
The speed bumps here are just like rectangles, so you have to go like 1 kilometer an hour or else you're gonna bottom out. Well, at least we're gonna bottom out in this tiny little box car.
Making our way from Lake Atitlan to Antigua took us through winding, mountainous back roads. Thankfully, we had the foresight to download offline maps for when the GPS inevitably lost signal. But that also meant we were flying blind when it came to unexpected obstacles on the road.
So we're driving around these mountain roads, and the maps has us going all over the place. The road ends in like a small river, and we have to cross it. Unfortunately, we have this little tiny thing, which I'm not sure if we can cross it with this, so we're kind of stuck. I'm gonna see how deep it is. There's a couple cars coming. Maybe if they cross pretty easily, we'll champ through it, but it looks a little deep for the car. Okay, let's give it a shot. Seen a few cars our size pass through, so hopefully we make it. So the first car kind of go this way, which looked a little less intimidating. Here we go.
Okay, that was not bad at all.
That was not bad at all. We built it up as worse than it would be. It looked a lot more intimidating than it was.
Really did. Well, our car is tiny, so I don't know. I just didn't want to get stuck.
Yeah.
You know, when you travel as much as we do, you really pick your battles with like dumb decisions. And that one, I don't know, it worked out. Some of you might say that was a dumb decision, but we're here.
We trial and error. So we were not gonna go unless we saw other cars go. We saw other cars that were smaller or the same size as ours go.
Yeah.
And they were fine. So the risk wasn't as bad as it might have been.
You just drove through a lot of them.
I sure did.
The drive took us back through a few small towns in Guatemala on our way to our hostel in Antigua, where we saw a lot more of these buses. They call them chicken buses. They're actually refurbished school buses from the US, usually at least 10 years old and have over 150,000 miles on them. They're sold for around $2,000 and driven all the way down to Guatemala to be converted into public transportation, and each one has its own unique character.
English is very bad. I learning English.
No, it's good. It's good. It's very good.
Thank you. Necesito practicar. The price for the reservation is 738.
Okay. We have arrived in Antigua, and this living situation is a little bit different from where we just came from. We are in a hostel called Central Hostel. We have a private room and a private bathroom. We do have 2 beds. I claimed this lovely little twin bed by the window, and Tony has a full bed. This I think was like $30 a night, and it's not like smack dab central in Antigua, but it's like 3 blocks away from everything else. So we are going to go grab some food and explore a little bit.
Our hostel host recommended we go to a restaurant that was a couple blocks away. I thought he was saying it's where like the gringos go to eat. Turns out it's called like El Gringo or something. Still, it looks like where gringos probably go to eat. With all that said, we ended up going to the place next door by accident, which also looks like a place where us gringos eat, but food was good. We probably ate way too much than we should have. Ended up costing us 256 quetzales, but we still have a full day here to explore, so that leaves us time for some more traditional dishes.
If you've been here since the beginning, you know that Tony and I were selected to be the faces of FareDrop, which is an incredible travel service that alerts users of flight deals directly to their inbox. So what is our job exactly? Well, A, to show you that these flight deals are in fact real, and B, to showcase some of the incredible destinations that these flight deals can take you. Now let me tell you something. The days of scouring the internet for the most affordable flight prices are over, because now the FareDrop team does that for you. Every day the FareDrop team scans millions of flights to make sure that you're getting notified of the biggest savings for the most exciting destinations. Tony and I love traveling and seeing the world, but you know what we love even more? Seeing the world knowing that we saved hundreds of dollars to do so. So if you're ready to cross some more countries off of your list, scan the QR code or head to the link in the description of this video to start saving money on your travels, and hopefully we'll see you at the airport.
Our first full day in Antigua started off with something fun. Sarah booked us an ATV tour which takes us from Antigua to Habantanego and ends with chocolate making and traditional Guatemalan food.
We just need to give gas, move the speed, and brake, okay? We have here 3 positions on this lever, and this is like an automatic car.
As we revved up our ATVs and set out on the cobblestone streets of Antigua, I quickly realized these roads demand your full attention. Navigating them takes some serious concentration.
I gotta say that cobblestone roads, they're tough, man, on ATVs. I was bumping everywhere.
I'm the worst, so they put me in the front.
I should point out too that you don't need to drive to this lookout. A lot of people actually walk, including these 2. We passed them in town earlier.
So first stop on our little ATV tour is this viewpoint, Cerro de la Cruz. It looks over the entirety of the city of Antigua. The superstar of this view is the volcano that you actually can't see right now because it's tucked behind some clouds. This is an inactive volcano, but there is a lake at the top.
The stop at the lookout point was quick, just a chance to catch our breath before heading to Habantanego. But as we revved up our ATVs again, let's just say some of us were more confident riders than others. And don't worry, he was totally fine, just a little bruised pride.
To get up here, we had to park our ATVs halfway up the mountain and then hop in the back of a pickup truck the rest of the way up. I can see why they don't want ATVs coming up here, because we were literally driving straight up. With our ATV tour, we get access to Habantanego, and then the bracelets get us access to the activities. It's kind of like a theme park. So there's archery, there's like a rope swing that looks insane. I'm probably gonna try it, even though I'm gonna be scared out of my mind. But we have about an hour and a half, 2 hours here to kind of just explore the park.
Happy to report I'm no longer the worst ATV driver.
I was gonna make a comment about that.
You can actually stay the night in a few of these hobbit huts for about 900 quetzales a night. And as much as I think Tony would love that, it's just not in the budget for this trip. So this was on my itinerary anyway, but then once I found the ATV tour where it stops with it, I was like, oh, perfect, 2 birds with 1 stone. It's pretty hokey. I mean, I'm glad we can check it off, but it's pretty...
You wanna have my pipe?
Sure do.
Smoke ganja.
It's tourist trap.
Yeah!
Which is fine, because we're tourists and we like getting trapped, so.
So, about that rope swing I said I was going to try. Well, I got up to the line and had second thoughts.
Line's too long.
What an excuse.
Been really pushing my luck with my fear of heights. This is the one time where I'm just absolutely like, nah, not happening. You thrill seekers can have at it, not for me.
No.
No. Made it back into the city. You don't want to do any of the other stuff on this. This is really cool to do just because you get to ride an ATV up and down the mountain and then on these cobblestone roads in town. By the way, we're stopped right now because someone had to use the bathroom, so we are not at our next stop yet.
I'm honestly not a fan of driving on the cobblestone roads, but on one of the final stops on our tours, we briefly took a break to take some pictures at an old church before heading out to chocolate making.
Though cocoa now grows in tropical countries all across the globe, Guatemala remains one of the best places to learn about the history of the fruit. So, on the last stop of our ATV tour, we're at Restaurante San Juanera. We won't go into a lot of detail with the chocolate making process since we did that earlier, but the real gem here is the food. Authentic Guatemalan dishes. We got the pepein, which is a spicy meat and vegetable stew, and the galo el chicha, which is cooked rooster and chicha. Meals aren't included on the ATV tour, so we ended up paying about 150 quetzales for our food. And with our meals wrapped up for the night, so too did our ATV tour.
Early mornings are when these old buildings in the city truly glow. With the streets almost empty and the city still quiet, the soft light of the rising sun gently reflects off of the historic structures, casting a warm golden hue across the city surrounded by volcanoes.
Stopped into this place called Cafe Condesa, where they have traditional Guatemalan desayunos. I gotta say, all the restaurants in Guatemala are absolutely gorgeous. They have like this little garden area. It looks like this open air seating.
This particular place also has good desayunos.
Las tortillas. Muy bien.
3 corn tortillas with beans, 2 fried eggs on top, and then there's guacamole slices hidden under here with a bunch of salsa dumped on top. And it's so good.
Scrambled eggs, tomato, onion, refried beans, and tortillas. Maybe a little taco.
Final breakfast in Antigua cost 205 quetzales. By the time breakfast was over, the city was alive and energetic. So for our last morning, we decided to walk around a bit and take in the sights of the city. Antigua has so many historic ruins that stand out against the backdrop of the volcano. Ironically, the same volcano is responsible for many of these ruins, having caused floods and a series of devastating earthquakes over centuries. Many of these remnants are old convents and churches, offering a glimpse into the city's past. Walk in any direction in Antigua, and you're bound to find some ruins to explore.
Well, we stumbled into this, I think it's ruins of a convent. And that's about as much information as I have. It's really pretty. It was 70 quetzales for both of us, so 35 each.
While exploring the convent, we found that this was the sanctuary of San Francisco el Grande, a mid-16th century sanctuary. It was damaged in 1565 by an earthquake, rebuilt in 1702, and was destroyed by earthquakes in 1717, 1751, and 1773. After being abandoned, it was damaged by earthquakes in 1874 and 1917 until finally the church was rebuilt during the second half of the 20th century. Scary.
I think it's safe to say that Guatemala was not necessarily like on our short list of countries we were planning on visiting in the near future, but we made the trip happen, which is crazy because round trip tickets here were significantly cheaper than some domestic flights within the US.
We're going to miss the short few days that we had in Guatemala, but there's always time to go back, especially if the deals keep popping up on FareDrop. And if you want to fly to destinations like this, scan the QR code or check the link in the description to start saving money on your travels.
For breakfast, we got, what did you get? For breakfast, Sarah got torpedo? For breakfast, I got huevos guatemaltecos. For breakfast, I'm gonna leave the names up.